Thinking about building a house, here's what to expect start to finish. My name is Ruben, I'm a builder. I've built over 250 units in the past few years, and I'm gonna give you guys a 7-step overview, high-level understanding of what to look for and what to understand when building a house. So number one is gonna be finding a lot. So it's really important to find a lot that's roughly 20% of that final build value that you're gonna be building a house in. So if you're building a $500,000 house, multiply that roughly by 20%, you can pay roughly $100,000 for that lot. Depending on your area, it can range from 15% up to 25%, but just so you have a rough understanding of, oh, this is the kind of lot that I should be looking for. It's really important also in step one of finding the land and making sure that the zoning allows you to build. So our single family homes even allowed to be built here, duplexes, fourplexes. When getting a primary construction loan, you can get a loan up to 4 units. You wanna make sure that after zoning, sewer, water, and electricity are available to your lot. You really want to understand, hey, is this lot even big enough for septic? Is there city sewer close enough to where I can connect to it? So those are the different things that you're looking for when underwriting and finding a piece of land. You also want to really make sure that the lot is maybe not too sloped. When you're finding a lot that is more sloped, you're going to have more expensive construction costs. Stage 2 is going to be underwriting. So in the underwriting section, you're gonna have 3 main sections. You're gonna wanna find out comparable pricing on what your home is gonna sell for, even if you move into it, even if you rent it, it doesn't matter. This is gonna help you break down the numbers. That's one of the 3 sections. 2 is gonna be construction costs. What I've seen typically nationwide, on the low end, you can get construction costs as low as $100 per square foot to build. On the high end, roughly $200 per square foot to build. If you're in cheaper markets, you're gonna be on the lower side. If you're in San Diego, California, you might be on the $250 price markets like Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon. Right now, I'm averaging in a suburb market of Portland, Oregon at around $175 per foot, sometimes $150 per foot if the lot's already developed and all the utilities are there. You then want to multiply your square footage by your construction square foot price to build, and now you have your construction costs. So one, you have the comparable price. Let's just say we're going to build a 1,500 square foot house. We're going to multiply it by mid-range $150 per square foot. Your construction cost should be around $225,000. Add that lot price, $325,000, and then the remaining difference is going to be for finance fees and then equity and or profit. And so now that you have your comparable, you know that your house is roughly worth $500,000, you know what it's gonna cost you to build, and then you know your land price, which is that 15 to 20% value, and you now are underwriting the deal and understanding, hey, do the numbers make sense and can I move forward on this lot purchase? If it makes sense, you have utilities and the deal's looking like it's gonna move forward, then you can move on to step 3. So in step 3, what it's gonna look like is design and planning. In your comparables, whatever homes you found that were in that $500,000 price range, take note of the finishes, the size, the bedroom, bathroom count, and you want to build a plan similar to what's already in that area. You don't want to underbuild for the area. You definitely don't want to overbuild for the area to make sure that you get the price that you want at the end, no matter if it's for profit or for sale. I don't want anyone to be negative equity day one when they move into a new construction home. So I like to not recreate the bicycle wheel, and so I use plans that have already been used by a builder in the area. And we'll get into that in step 6. When you're gonna be hiring a builder, you can also ask him, hey, do you have any plans that do well in this area that you've already built before, that you understand the construction costs for? I'd love to use those plans. And most of the time, they're totally okay with it. Moving on to step 4 is going to be permitting. So permitting, I would like to summarize it kind of in a few simple words, which is really just master coordination and being able to move around the pieces efficiently. What does that even look like? What does that even mean? So trust but verify. So your architect is drawing up your plans, right? Your architect says, hey, plans are ready to be sent to engineering or to trusses or to floor joists. You just need to make sure that what he said is what actually happened. What happened to me before is architect said, hey, I'm gonna submit the plans to the city. A week goes by, I just remembered randomly, and so I emailed the city and I'm like, hey, how close are we to approval? When is that target review date if not? And he said, I haven't received anything. So ultimately, I just wasted a week of time by waiting and not double checking that the plans were actually submitted. So when the architect says, hey, I'm gonna send it to the city or I'm gonna send it to the structural engineer, You just need to absolutely make sure that that actually gets done. So, hey architect, when are you going to submit? Tomorrow. Then tomorrow comes around. Have you received the plans to the city or the structural engineer? And so really the ultimate lesson here is to make sure you trust what they say, but you verify and make sure that it actually happens. That way you have a smooth schedule. In my area, it takes roughly 3 months to get permits. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was almost 13 months into permitting before he got his building plans approved. Not because the city took 13 months, but because there was massive gaps in between, like I just explained. And so the plans were with the architect for a month or two, and then he submits to the city takes their review process, whatever that is, 2 to 3 weeks, and then goes back to the structural engineer, and it's sitting with them for 2 to 3 months, and they just do it when they want to. But if you're adamant and you get on it and make sure there's not massive gaps in your schedule, you'll be able to get your permits done efficiently. Moving into step 5, by now, if you found the land, you've underwritten the deal, you have the plans and design ready, you're approved to build, so you're ready to issue. RTI is usually the word that we use in construction. You can now get your financing in place. What does financing look like? So typically financing in an owner-builder loan, construction to permanent loan product, it's really just a 31-year mortgage. They give you 1 year to get the construction complete, and then they convert it to a 30-year mortgage. This is the type of loan product you want to go for. Strongly don't recommend hard money loans to those that have never built before or have no experience. And it's much easier to qualify for the experience because you're usually hiring a builder if you've never built before, and that builder can charge you anywhere from a 10, sometimes to a 15% fee based on the cost of construction. So in our case, if we're doing a build for roughly $225,000, the cost of actually hiring that builder would be anywhere from sometimes $25,000 to $30,000 fee, and that part of the construction is taken care of. So what you're gonna need for step 5 in financing is you're gonna need your W-2, or if you have a business, you'll need 2 years of tax returns, and usually the lender will take the average of the 2 years of your income and then give you that, spit out that average number. Let's just say you made 50K 1 year and then you made 150K the other year. He would get those two numbers, average them out, let's just say 75 to 100K, and now you can multiply that number by 43%. And that number, generally speaking, there's a little bit more details to this, but I'm just trying to give you guys a quick overview.
Thank you so much for getting this far into the video. If you're an action taker and you're looking for the education side of things, the tools, the resources, everything you need to be successful in the real estate development and new construction game, we have an education platform specifically for you.
Awesome, so text the word YouTube to 360-216-0323 and we'll get you connected to the right team member.
Generally speaking, that's how much you can afford in mortgage payments for a total of 12 months. You can then divide that by 12 to get it on a monthly number. Now you understand what payments you can afford, and then you can figure out, okay, what does this payment relate to in regards to the loan size? Is it a $300,000 loan? Is it a $600,000 loan? And that's kind of how we base our pre-approvals. So once you've given them the finances, you've given them the building permits, you've given them the plans and the design, you have to build out a budget in step 5. This is where you can start talking to a builder, have him provide input on that building budget. But ultimately, what that looks like is getting multiple bids from subs and comparing the scope, the schedule, and the price. And once you decide and pick out your subs, you can build out an itemized list. So like I told you earlier, let's just say, you know, in your area, roughly construction price is $150 per square foot. You break down that total $225,000 into an itemized list. How much will foundation cost? How much will plumbing cost? How much will HVAC, electrical cost? And you break down that itemized list and provide that to your lender, and that's essentially your budget. Moving on to step 6 is going to be the actual construction portion. So here, I think the biggest thing to understand and make light of is it's very important to hold the builder to his word. If he says he's going to build the house in 3 months, just make sure that he's on track to build it in 3 months. If he says he's going to build it for $225,000, who's responsible if it goes over budget? And that's very important to understand, because if it's going to take, if he said 3 months and it takes him 6 months, then who's paying that additional 3 months of interest payments, and whose responsibility is that? And so the way that I do that is I have a basically a visual construction schedule, a Gantt schedule. You can download that for free in my community channel. But what that looks like is, hey, how long should a foundation take? 5 days, 3 days to form, 1 day for inspections, 1 day to pour. And sometimes they can strip it on the 6th day, depending on how quick they are. So that just depends. So it's very important to understand schedules and how they stack up. So now that you know foundation takes 5 days, well, if it's on day 4, day 5, and they're still forming, you already know you're roughly 1 to 2 days delayed. If you add up, let's just say 3 to 5 days of delays on each trade, that can add up to months at the end of the construction schedule. And just know you're gonna pay extra and interest fees for that extra time. Then step 7, once the house is complete, you have your certificate of occupancy, which is essentially all inspections have been passed. You can move into the home. You can then move into the home, live in it for 2 years, and sell it for tax-free capital gains up to $500,000 if you're married filing jointly on your taxes, $250,000 if you're single filing your taxes, if you've lived there for 2 years out of the last 5. If you decide to sell it, please work with a real estate agent that is new construction specialized, because I've often got way larger or over asking offers on my deals because they understand the new construction market and know how to negotiate a deal. You shouldn't just hire any realtor. And oftentimes in step 1, when I'm finding the land, I'll motivate realtors and just say, hey, if you find me a really good deal on a piece of land, I'd be willing to do a list back. What is a list back? A list back is really simple. It basically motivates the real estate agent to find you a deal, and then you can sell the home with them as well. What's better, a commission check on a $100K sale or a commission check on a $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 home sale? Obviously, the commission is going to be 5 to 7 times more based on those numbers. And so that agent is very interested in finding you a deal and getting a larger commission check. And so that's kind of the high-level 7-step overview. I have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe, and you can learn about every one of these 7 steps in detail. I also have a community channel with thousands of like-minded people in there. Lenders, aspiring builders, wholesalers, people that find deals for you. Everybody, you name it, I'm in there often answering questions and helping out. Check out my community channel. Would love to see you inside. And as always, let's crush it.